So I think a lot of people know that I've been on trial for about 3 years, and the trial was based on a tweet that I sent, which gave advice, suggestion to a mother that maybe the low-carb diet was a real good choice for weaning. And the problem was that I actually answered what's called a we question. The mother didn't ask for herself. She said mothers and babies, whatever they should do. So when there's a we question, what you're doing is just giving information. So there never could have been a doctor-patient relationship, but the whole basis for the trial is that I was in a doctor-patient relationship. I didn't examine the patient, I gave dangerous advice. And the reality is that they were never able to show that a low-carb diet is dangerous. In fact, the South African dietary guidelines, as the US dietary guidelines, say you should wean onto animal-based produce. But the problem, of course, is that there's a huge industry producing cereal-based foods. From Gerber Company, which developed in the US in the 1920s, they were the first processed foods that were sold, were baby foods. And so there's a massive industry behind it, and it looks very much like I irritated that industry and they made sure that I was going to shut up. So the whole trial's been an attempt to silence me. And it's been for 23 days, now we've got another 3 days and then it's done. But we changed the focus because my lawyers were so clever, and they're two of the best lawyers in South Africa. They said, Tim, let's have the science out there. And so we changed the focus from, had I acted unprofessionally, to are the dietary guidelines conventional or unconventional? And we invited one of the greatest nutrition experts in the world, Nina Teichhold. She's an investigative journalist, and everyone knows she wrote the book, The Big Fat Surprise. And she came out and she just floored the opposition to the extent that the prosecution couldn't even ask her a question. So they just had to accept what she said. And then I had Zoe Harcom, came from Wales, and she'd done her PhD, showing that there was never any evidence to support the dietary guidelines when they were introduced. And our third expert witness was Karen Zinn, who's a South African who I'd actually taught, who went to New Zealand and converted to this diet about 3 years ago. And she was important because she could say that she had been taught a particular way and never been taught to question. And when she realized that actually there is no basis for their high carbohydrate diet, she suddenly realized her training had been completely inappropriate, hadn't taught her to think and how to analyze the literature. So we're coming up to the climax now on April the 21st, and then the committee that has been judging me will make their decision. And as I read it, they can't find me guilty of anything because I didn't do anything wrong. There are no rules I broke. I just gave out some information. And you could even say I just made an opinion. And so that becomes a question of freedom of speech, which we've looked at extensively. We argue that scientists must have freedom of speech, and that there was never any evidence that what I said was dangerous to anyone. And in fact, the irony is that the charge was not laid by the person to whom the advice was addressed. She said it was ridiculous, she wasn't going to follow it anyway. so it's just been an amazingly difficult time for us, but I think that the outcome is going to be really dramatic for the global community of low carbs, because I was charged with giving unconventional advice. So we said, well, what's unconventional advice? So they said, well, it's not evidence-based. So we've now proved that the conventional advice is unconventional because it's not evidence-based. And that's before the Health Professional Council of South Africa, which controls all dietary teaching for dietitians and doctors in South Africa. So if they are condoning teaching which is unconventional, on the 22nd of April, any doctor or nutritionist or dietitian in South Africa who's giving the traditional high carbohydrate, low fat diet, they are giving unconventional advice, and they could be reported to the Health Professional Council and go through what I've been through. That's point one. And point two is, how can the Health Professional Council justify continuing to teach this wrong information at medical schools, teaching our doctors and our dietitians? So technically, if I win the case on the 22nd of April, every dietitian, every doctor in South Africa has to be retrained according to low carb diets, and every unit that teaches, or every discipline department that teaches nutrition to medical students or doctors or dietitians has to change their teaching as of April the 22nd. So that's what it actually does mean. And I'm fairly confident that we've proved that the low-fat diet is not conventional, it's unconventional advice, it's not evidence-based. Whether the committee will say, okay, fine, that means the Health Professional Council has to step in and change all the training throughout South African universities or not, whether that happens or not, I'm not sure. Because there's only about 3 of us who can teach the courses. So we're going to be pretty busy in the next few years. So the end result is that what's caused my wife and myself enormous pain has, in the end, it will be worthwhile. What we've done. And when we started this, we said, listen, we're not victims. We're in charge of our future. And we're going to determine the outcome of this thing. And we're going to fight it. And we put everything into this fight. We didn't spare a cent or a rand or a dollar. We didn't spare anything. We really worked hard. We gave so much information. And what the outcome is the outcome. We couldn't have done one thing more. It was like we were preparing for the Olympic marathon. We did everything possible. And if we didn't win it on the day, well, that wasn't meant to be. But I'm pretty certain that we made such a strong case and we had such incredible lawyers that we will win big time on April the 25th.